Today I'm coming to you with a sort of fun video. Milena over at Milena Reads suggested that we get together to film a video together where we read each other one-star reviews of our favorite classics. So that's what we're doing. I have to apologize in advance. I think I'm a little giggly and inarticulate in this video. I ended up being very nervous to actually talk to somebody in real life about bookish things. So yeah, I apologize for that, but it was a lot of fun. I really want to do another video with Milena in the future. So as soon as you're done watching this video, you can go over to Milena's channel, and I am over there reading reviews of her favorite classics. There you go. Here's the video.
Oh, yes. Oh, I forgot that sound. It takes me back to my teenage years with all the weird filters.
So basically today we're going to be doing one-star reviews of each other's favorite classics. So if you want to see me reading one-star reviews of Milena's favorite books, you can go over to her channel, and that'll be posted over there. But over here, we're doing my favorite classic books, and Milena's gonna roast them for me, basically.
Hi, I'm Milena from the channel Milena Reads, and I mainly read classics and literary fiction about history and about feminism. And because of Emma, I also am getting a little bit more interested in nonfiction. So, yeah. And I am going to be reading a lot of horrible reviews of Emma's favorites. Yeah, classics, I think, mainly, right?
Yeah.
Classics, I think.
Classics. Although they're a little bit modern classics, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I hadn't read most of them, and I really don't want to now. I was reading all those reviews. I was like, oh gosh, that's horrible.
Yikes. Okay, well, I'm excited. Slash not excited.
I'm going to start with a book that is also a favorite of mine. Mm-hmm. And I was reading this review and I was just laughing out loud. It was so funny because I just could imagine like a very American teen just being very annoyed she had to read this book.
I think that's a lot of the reviews is like, I had to read this for class.
Yes. Well, I have a couple of those. So this is from Emma by Jane Austen. I just want to start off by saying I had to read this for a book club. So basically it was like school, being forced to read, but just a little bit better. I also wanted to apologize for giving this popular classic a low rating, but I don't care that much, but also don't comment mean things. Also, my book club thought it was the best, but not crazy. I have to give credit to Jane Austen because this book was very well written. The character's development was mind-blowing. Writing was great, but I also hated it, you know. It was like a teen in the 1800s. I would have loved this, but right now, I just can't handle it. The old-fashioned writing just annoyed me, and how they all talked about what like seemed to go on for hours.
Oh boy.
And all the characters, how are there so many? And on question mark. How can someone have such a large brain capacity to contain all the information about these characters? I know my small brain just couldn't. My brain also didn't know what was happening the whole time. I was so bored too. I had to restore to reading the Spark Notes, and even those bored me. And it was just too predictable. I don't think that was the point. Not to be predictable, but it's another factor of my dislikedness with too many S's. I don't want to say hate for this book. Honestly, it's a good book and worth reading as a classic, but just not for me.
I like the there's too much going on, but it was too predictable. It's like, choose a lane, you know?
Yes, I think this was a very teen review.
Yeah, it seemed like it. My main problem with these books is I feel like I could roast them myself. Like I have knowledge about what can be roasted about each of them.
Well, did you agree with her or not?
I don't agree with her, but also it's like, maybe you have like a small point.
Alright, this person's also about Emma, and this person gave a 1-star review based on very, how do you say this? Well, you'll see. This is a bit of slang, so I'm going to try. Ain't gonna lie, I didn't even get past page 1, but I watched the half of the 1996 Emma movie on Netflix, so I've basically read it, and find me, Mr. Garcia.
It's the same thing. It's totally the same thing, you know?
Yes, but also find me, Mr. Garcia. It's like his teacher is called Mr. Garcia.
Too many school projects here.
Yes, but Emma didn't is, I think, very well loved. You had more. You also had one that I had never read before.
I did sneak a nonfiction on here, but I think it's a classic nonfiction.
It's a nonfiction, Pilgrim at Tinder Creek?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like nature writing nonfiction.
Yes, it was very, people were very angry at it.
Oh no.
One person said this. Pilgrim at Tinker Creek is the literary version of a Terrence Malick film. Take that for what it's worth to you.
Okay.
No, nothing.
I'm letting these roll over me.
Okay, there's another one. This was not a badly written book. However, it should not be forced upon poor innocent high school students. I have had to read a lot of boring books in my high school career, but this tops them all. Just when you thought something interesting was going to happen, she watches Bird or something for like hours. True, there were moments of great beauty and her philosophy were not always crazed. I respect her and her view of the world, but she has even said that it's silly for schools to make 16 and 17-year-old kids read this book. It should be left to the deeper tree huggers of the world.
I mean, I honestly am surprised that this was assigned to somebody's high school, because it is very like meandering and just like, let's talk about nature and this tree for a while or whatever. So I thought that would be part of the roast for this, you know, too much about trees or whatever.
But do you agree with the tree huggers?
I mean, I feel like maybe the tree huggers are the most primed to be excited by this book. Every book has its audience, and this audience is probably not 16-year-olds in general.
No, this book was a lot of bad reviews about why did I have to read this for school and things like that. Oh, this is an interesting one about The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers.
Mm-hmm.
One said that it was offensive in some way, and I haven't read it, so I'm curious how you feel about it.
Okay.
Alright, here it comes. I always quip about this book being the absolute worst piece of fiction I've ever read. The characters are completely unbelievable and so insulting to deaf people.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read The Heart is a Lonely Hunter since high school, so I feel like I came to it with like a, wow, like look at all these different people's experiences frame of reference. But I don't know if I read it now again, if I'd be like, oh no, this is like reductive or something like that. I hope not. I like remember it being like really, really good.
Well, do you want to hear another bad review?
Okay, yeah, let's do it. This is like making me, I don't know, doubt myself almost.
Yes, I think I'm going to cry when you do mine. I really think so. Right, this is another of Carson McCullers. I find it rather misleading that in the synopsis the character of John Singer is described as someone who changes their other characters. Disenchanted lives in ways that could never be imagined, because that is not what happens in this book. Singer doesn't change anything that hasn't already inclined to happen. I'm pretty sure the story would turn out mostly the same if he wasn't even included in it. It was like the author wanted all the subplots and characters to tie together, so she created a hub of spookers of this wheel, even though the hub didn't really contribute too much of anything to the plot.
Huh. Yeah, it's weird that I'm like sort of agreeing with so many of these 1-star reviews, but I feel like that is an indication of The Heart is a Lonely Hunter being poorly marketed, because I sort of feel like, I don't know, I didn't realize before putting together this list, but a lot of my favorite books are a little bit cynical and depressing, which is not great. But not to ruin the book for people, but it does sort of, like, everything feels sort of inevitable. So like having a character come in and like change people's lives like, I don't think that's a good description of it anyways. So I'm wondering, I don't know. I feel like that person came in with the wrong expectations and then was like, well, no, this was not what it said it would be.
All right, you want to get over to, I think it's another book I haven't read, by the way, Catch-22 by Joseph Heller.
Okay.
Well, I'm really curious, when did you read it? I want to know before we get into this.
I also read this one in high school. I expect there's some stuff in there about how offensive this book is, because why don't you just do it and put me on my
All right. Absurdly stupid people in positions of authority, and the women in the book are lusty and like to clean.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I have a more extensive review that has the same point.
Okay.
This book is an assault against women, and here she goes. The author depicts women as simpletons. From young, dumb, horny to old, haggard and easy, women are reduced to one-note beings that serve a colorful anecdote or plot devices. Only 3 women are not sexualized. The annoying nurse, the self-serving old Italian, and the dog's wife that willingly ignores her husband's death and merely clerical error in order to collect money from the Office of the Veterinary Affairs. Women are not afforded depth, character, or genuine human characters. Moreover, even though the author's male characters constantly disrespect, undermine, and attack women, the author allows no time to criticize the action of his male characters or admonish their behavior.
I mean, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's like a very bad book if you're coming at it from a feminist reading frame. It's about the absurdities of war, right? So it is very male focused in general. Yeah, I feel read in general.
You want to hear one more from the same book? It's not about women this time.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, maybe there's a reason this book is usually required in high school reading. It is like it was written by a 17-year-old. Someone who has clearly finds himself to be hilarious and no one ever had the heart to tell him differently.
I thought he was funny. I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. It's like, yes, humor is subjective. Fine.
I feel so bad for you. All your books are going through the crapper.
Oh boy. I mean, Joseph Heller has a bad reputation as a person, so I was definitely expecting this book to get some flack, but
like in what way does he have a bad reputation?
For being like sexist and racist and all that good stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's fine. We're here.
Okay, can you handle Franny and Zooey as well?
Oh my god. I can definitely roast Franny and Zooey myself, even though I loved it. But okay, let's have somebody else do it for me.
All right, these are short. I think you can handle it.
Okay.
Yes, breathe in. Right. Arrogant siblings complaining about pointless things. I thought this was awful and wanted to smack every character. Franny and Zooey need to get over themselves.
Yeah, I mean, not wrong.
I couldn't actually finish this book because I felt if I wanted to learn about privileged rich kids and their fullness, I'd go back to art school.
Yeah, this does feel like a very art school book in general. Yeah. I mean, it's just like 2 unhappy college-y age students being like, I'm so much smarter than everybody else, but I'm so unhappy. But I mean, like, it like spoke to me when I read. I don't know what that says about me, but here we are.
When did you read it?
Early 20s, like after college, but still in that, finding yourself phase or whatever.
Well, I think that were all your books. It was pretty rough.
I'm hurting a little bit. I mean, I would say like 80% expected, but it's still hard to hear,
Which one was shocking to you?
So The Hardest and Lonely Hunter, Carson McCullers, sort of like puts you in the, oh, Michelle, stop. Carson McCullers sort of like puts you in the minds of a whole bunch of different characters, and it is a fairly diverse cast, I think. So I was expecting some amount of like, oh, she did a bad job of this point of view. I was not expecting it to be the death point of view. There's, I think, a black doctor in there, and I was expecting somebody to be like, she totally got that experience wrong overall, but...
Oh, it was nowhere on Goodreads, that one.
Well, anyways, I still, like, despite those bad reviews, I still recommend these books. I'm sorry.
You sure?
Overall, yes. I mean, Heart is a Lonely Hunter, yes. Catch 22. I mean, I enjoyed it. Maybe, like, don't go in with super high expectations, but, you know, middle expectations, I think you could still enjoy it, possibly.
Which one should I read? Because I've only read Emma of this list.
I think you would like Heart is a Lonely Hunter. I guess I probably shouldn't recommend Franny and Zooey to anybody, but I did enjoy it. I think it's like, that's a book that's really great if you actually just want the author philosophizing about stuff, because that's really what it is. It's not really fiction, which I think is probably why I like it. It's mostly J.D. Salinger being like here's some wacko characters and some like philosophy-ish things they're saying. I don't know. So,
okay, Carson McCullers I need to read, and Franny and Zooey I just need to give a try sometime, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun for me, but I don't think it was fun for you.
Well, you're next, so...
Oh gosh, here we go.